I know I've been gone for like a week now, but that's because I recorded this whole video, right? Then I got super sick. So blame the boogeyman on that one. It's not my fault. And I recorded this video beforehand, and it turns out my mic was just broken. Like the whole mic was, it just didn't work. So that's why I'm using this janky thing with the lights and the weird aesthetic. So we're gonna start off today by answering some of your guys' questions, and then just get into the video. So today we're doing crates, boxes, and codes. If you didn't see that already, and because I've already recorded this video, it's gonna be a bit of a breezy one because I'm not gonna be going through the process of like making any images or anything. I will be going through the process how you make things, of course, and I'll be doing a little bit extra that I didn't do in the video I recorded beforehand of this that I lost because of the mic issues. But let's just get into the questions. Actual video starts at this time. I don't know if I'm pointing at it. I'm pointing at it here. So the first one from Azure Warth is, how do I fix can't place anything with my custom items? Dude, I'm sorry, I do not know what you're talking about. Like, did you make a custom item and you can't place the custom item? Or you can't place anything with your custom items once you load in the game? Or once you try to load in your custom item, you just can't place anything with your custom items? Just clarify that and I'll be able to help you out. Traveler Brother, I think his question was answered by Noah Kirkpatrick. Thank you guys so much for going in the comments and answering other people's questions, because you might know something that I don't or that they don't. It's really awesome to see you guys just interacting with each other, helping each other out in the comments, so thank you so much for that. Game Zone says, can someone please help when I hit play? It comes with a green error occurred thing. Now I don't know if HTH solved your issue, just leave the game and shut down the servers. But that could also happen if you're playing it in the editor. So make sure when you're playing it, you're not in the editor hitting the play button, you're actually in the place of your game. Like, you go to the place area and you hit the play button here. Caden Gamer asks, is there a way to fix the upgrader not lining up with the conveyors? Mine are a bit off to the side. And again, somebody replied saying basically placement unit has units of 3x3 studs. So I'll break down what Noah is saying here about misaligning your hitbox. So pretty much when you go to place down an item in Miner's Haven and that grid appears on the floor, each one of those cells is what they're called, or those little boxes on the floor, is a 3x3 studs. So in your editor, when you're making something, you can go over here to model and move, or like, so, okay, let's just go over this part I just made. So right now it's 0.25 by 0.25 studs. I know that because I made it that way. I set my move value to 0.25 studs. You can also just come down here to the size, and then when you scale it, if you see the size going up, it's now 3 by 3. So this is how big a cell is on your base. So pretty much all you want to do is just make sure that the conveyor's hitbox, like, it's just aligned with the conveyor. So the conveyor is 6 by 6 studs, which is 2 cells. See, let's just take an upgrader here and put it into the workspace wherever it is. So this is the 100 mil upgrader. I did not get that. I'm not salty about that at all. Anyway, so you'll see that the hitbox here, let's just show it a little bit, give it some transparency. Now this wasn't the best example because of the weird way that the conveyor's wide, I think, for this one. It is a wide conveyor, but the logic still checks out. So you want to make sure that the hitbox is just completely confined on your conveyor there, and then you just want to extend it to the reach where it needs to be. Make sure it's divisible by 3. So that's how this hitbox was. Pretty much most hitboxes were done like this. They were on the conveyor, and then they were just extended in a way by a stud amount that's divisible by 3, and then they got their hitbox. Or at least that's how I would do it, and I'm assuming that's how it was done for most of them. So now, this isn't exactly answering questions, this is just showing you guys some things that Fudzy's been talking about in the comment section here. Thank you so much, Fudzy's, for this. He has figured out how to award. Now ignore that crate and this over here and that. We'll be going over that. Those are the things I made in the episode that got deleted. So pretty much he explains how to award yourself items, money, and rebirths. So to do this, you want to hit F9 to open up the console, or the developer console. That's what it's called. So I didn't know anything about this until Fudzy started talking about it, and then I learned it multiple times because I had to redo the video. Whatever, who cares? So the first thing in the description will be game, server storage, award item, invoke, game, players, name, ID, amount. What does this mean? So pretty much what this is saying is this is how you award yourself an item or give yourself an item without having to use a code. So it's game, server storage, award item. It's just looking in the server storage for this right here, this action, or what's it technically called? Bindable function. So it's going to server storage and looking at this bindable function award item. So that's going to give you an item. and then game.Players. So it's looking at the game, looking at the players, and then name. So right here where it says name, you want to type your name. So for me, that will be Orange Goose. You can see up here. ID. So this is the item ID. Let's just say 634, a number I plucked out of the air at random and did not look up at all. And then amount is how many you want. So let's say I want 1,000 of whatever item I just awarded myself. Okay, so I messed that up like 4 times, but I just gave myself some of the, as you know, broken wire droppers. Maybe 634 actually is not an item. I thought that was gargantuan, and that's how I had it right here. So if you want to give yourself an item, you want to go into replicated storage, scroll down through all of these until you find the items group, and then pretty much you just want to find something that you want. So gargantuan is down here in the G's, and GA, so I'm going to scroll up a little bit, gargantuan mine, and then item ID, 536. I was pretty close in theory of that number. So let's say I want gargantuan mines. Okay, I typed this in wrong like 200 times. That's what you see above the console. So game.Players.AwardItem, and then the ID will be 536, and the amount, let's say I just want a nice, easy, simple 10,000 gargantuan mines. All right, I just gave myself 0, 0, 0. I have 10,199 gargantuan mines, and if you can see here, they're real gargantuan mines that you can just have all around your base. I don't know why they would be fake gargantuan mines, but pretty much that just goes to show that actually awards items. Now you can also give yourself money and rebirths. Again, I'd like to clarify that this was all fudsies who figured this out, so open up your developer console, go to server, and the second thing I put in the description will be rebirths. So I'm not going to go over money, I'll just put that one in the description if you want to work with that. So let's say I want my life to be just a simple, I think that was 1,000,000. So game.Players, and then where it says your username here, I just copied that straight from fudsies. Just put your name, and then set the value to that. I now have the world record for lives, I think. Screw it, I won't be super in-depth with the money, but I just want to show that it works. I just get myself 1 NOTG, which is enough to skip 20 lives. Wow, the True Overlord device looks so outdated. What the heck is that? Game Man Suck Pula. Let me hide my face real quick. It says how to add exotics to boxes. Well, so first let's establish the difference between boxes and crates, just to name them correctly. So a box is what you open and get an item out of, not one that falls from the sky. You get a random item, it scrolls past, you know, like Unreal Box, Inferno Box, regular box, and research crates are what fall from the sky and hit the ground that give you the boxes and items and RP and whatever. So let's start by making a box, something I totally haven't done before in this save. So first you want to go to your server storage. I totally lied. I mean, I did that on purpose. First you want to go to your replicated storage, and there's going to be a folder here called boxes. So right now you'll see that you've got Festive, Inferno, Luxury, and this one I made down here called Vintage. What I'm just going to do with the Vintage is just delete it so we can start fresh, and I can show you how to make a box. So I'm just going to go up here. Where's the regular box? Just regular box, and duplicate it with Control-D. So pretty much they're named Festive, Inferno, Luxury instead of Festive Box, Inferno Box, and Luxury Box, because you just have to name it the first thing that you want to show up. Like if you're making a vintage box, you would just name it Vintage, and then it'll automatically add box right afterwards. So I'm going to be naming this Vintage. So now the box color, that's pretty much the background color that the box photo will be on top of. So I already have a color picked out, but if you just want to choose a color, you can click on the little value over here and mess with the slider, but I already have a set color that I like for this one. Now, contra multi, that's the chance that you'll get a contraband item. So if you set it to 0, you can't get contraband items. If you set it to 100, there is a really good chance, unless if you set something else to 100, that you're going to be getting contraband. Crystal multi, that's the chance that you'll get an item from the UC shop. I want that to be 0, because with my vintage box, I want it to just be vintage items. Description. Now, when you hover over the box, this is what it's going to tell you. So I'm just going to say, this box is a super cool box, like and subscribe. Oh, I don't even remember writing that. Who would have thought? Shop chance. This is the chance that it'll give you like an ore tracker, or like that Steam one where like you drop your ores into and it gives you upgrades like a normal upgrader does. Whatever. 0. It's the chance of it giving you a shop item. Now you can just go ahead and delete shop multi. Thumbnail ID, we'll get into that later. And vintage chance. I'm going to crank this all the way up to 100 because I want it to all be vintage items. And by the way, vintage chance is vintage and exotic. Now we're coming back to the thumbnail ID. So that's pretty much the photo of the box, of the regular, the Unreal box or whatever. So what you want to do is put together your own image that you would like to use for the box. Now I had already put together this images vintage box, and that wasn't actually when I recorded the box video. That was December 30th, before the series even started. So I actually made this box, fun fact, before the godly or heavenly box came out that just gives you the iron mine, if you know what I'm talking about, that joke box that Foxy gave to a couple of streamers. Anyway, I just put every box on top of each other to achieve the look of this box. And so what you want to do is get the extension BT Roblox. This is a wacky menu. Anyway, you want to get the Chrome extension BT Roblox. So this was also, I believe, explained by Fudsies. I don't remember exactly who did it, so thanks again. You've helped us out, once again. So pretty much once you have that installed, you want to refresh your page and you'll see these things show up here. You want to click on the image and this will take you to the image file of the decal. So pretty much you have a separate item ID up right here. So you see this ends in 644 and the image ends with 635. That's your thumbnail ID. You can paste it in and boom, you have your box made. So cool. You have your box made, all that good stuff, but how do you obtain your box? Well, to do that, we're going to be making a crate. So you want to go into your server storage where I went beforehand, and you'll see down here, I already have made a vintage crate. Again, I'm going to delete that. That was the big thing you saw earlier. That was the vintage crate. What I like to do is just find a research crate, or sorry, the research crate, not any research crate. And I just like to Control-C copy and Control-Shift-V paste into the workspace. So now you have your research crate. You can make this as big, as long as you want. You can make this anything you want, as long as it is either a union or one singular part with all of this stuff inside of it. It's all good. Now, just to prove how weird and wacky you can make your boxes, I'm just going to design something weird and wacky. I'm going to make it a cylinder, rotate it a couple times. Yeah, that's the way I want it to look. Scale it up. You can just make your box whatever, as long as it's, as I said, one part or a union, which I'm going to be making. Now I have my 3 parts selected. I'm going to make them a union, and bada bing bada boom, you just made something super cool and it's all one part, right? Wow, unions are the best, except they're not. I freaking hate unions because there's this bug that happens like 80% of the time where when you've just first modeled your union and you leave Roblox Studio and you come back, it'll be invisible. And I'm not saying its transparency has been set. Like, different parts of it will just be invisible. Their transparencies can be 0, it could be whatever, but they will be invisible and you can't get it back. It's a bug with Roblox Studio and it's just obnoxious. So anyway, I'm going to be taking this stuff from the research crate and just, wow, that was weird, just dragging it into the union. Even the decals, I want to see how that plays out. That's cool. So I'm going to delete the research crate and just rename this to vintage crate. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, actually. This is what's going to be falling from the sky. But when you touch into it, it's still just going to give you like RP and a chance at a normal crate. So open up its research crate script inside of the crate you just made. So in here, you just have like the script for when you touch it, it'll activate some sparkles, say plus the amount of RP it just gave you. So when you bump into a research crate, it makes up a number called chance, which is a random number anywhere between 1 and 25. If your chance happens to equal 12, you get a box, you get a crate. That's great. So, but if you have VIP, your chance increases from 1 in 25 to 1 in 15, and that's an increase because then you're going to get crates more often. So pretty much what's happening here is your chance is math.random 125. So 1 in 25 chance, unless if you have VIP, then it'll be 1 in 15. If your chance is 12, it'll fire off this code. This is line 30, by the way. I'm just going to separate this a little bit so we can focus in on it. If your chance is 12, then it'll do all this stuff that gives you your box. So I want my vintage crate to fall from the sky, and when you hit it, it always gives you a vintage box. So what I'm going to do is going to say, if your chance doesn't equal 0, because it cannot equal 0. By the way, squiggly line, no idea what the technical name for that equals is doesn't equal 0. In Python, it's that, but this isn't Python. You know, some other languages it's different. For Lua, squiggly line 0. So chance doesn't equal 0, which will always happen. Then it'll look in the replicated storage.boxes.regular. So that's it, just giving you a regular box. I'm going to switch this to vintage. And if I double click where it says regular, here it'll show me everywhere it says regular. So pretty much you just want to switch that to where it says vintage. Or, well, whatever the name of your box is. And we'll go over what we just changed here. The box, it's defining the box, is your vintage box that you've just made. And it is changing the amount of vintage crates you have by 1. So your vintage crates, or vintage boxes, I'm sorry, is equal to your vintage boxes plus 1. It'll fire code saying +1 vintage box. So that's what's going to appear at the top of your screen. Like when you get an Unreal box, a vintage box, and it says, you know, +1. And that's it. Easy as that. So your crate will now give you vintage boxes. Or whatever box you just made, you know. Also down here, I'm going to change the color to the color I already had. And when I said the color I already had, pretty much I just went down into boxes, found vintage, went into box color, copied that, and then just put it right down here. So you have the box rigged up to the crate, drops every time, or at least it does for me. Now how do you get the crate default from this guy? So first you want to take your crate and just drag it back into the server storage with the other crates. Next you can close your server storage and open up your server script storage, go into main, open that up, and then open up realistic time of day. So when you scroll down on realistic time of day and reach line 74, it should be the same for everybody. This is where boxes drop. So this is what handles when boxes drop, like in the time of day. So what I've just done is I've gone down to line 81 and copied line 81 to line 86. This is what drops a lucky crate. So pretty much I'm just going to paste this in and make sure the indenting is all good. I have it separated so we can just see it easy. So in the realistic time of day, there is another chance variable. This chance variable is totally different from the other. So every second in the day or the night, the chance variable is getting reset. And if it hits 6,000, a lucky crate drops. Or no, not 6,000, 4,777 at night or 777 at day. So let's go over what's happening here. If it's nighttime and the chance is 4,777, or if it's daytime, which is just normal chance, and the chance is 777, then it'll clone the crate, and then just give an attention notice to the chat that a lucky crate has appeared. So this is super easy to change. All we got to do for the nighttime value, I'm just going to say if the chance is greater than or equal to 2,000 and so is the day. That means it's going to be dropping a lot, but I just want to see the crate drop. I want to make sure that it's all working. I'm going to change this to a vintage crate has appeared. This will fill the crap out of the chat, but we're just going to watch this happen. I'm going to set the color to what I want it to be and publish. Also by set the color, that's the color of the text that you'll be seeing in the chat. So I do want to say the modding tutorial server, what I've been working on, the game I've been working on pretty much, is now available. So you can play that if you want. I don't really know why you would, but if you just want to look at the separate things that I've added, it'll be the 4th thing in the description. I think we're at thing 4. Okay, I made a mistake here. So I forgot to change what crate it was cloning. So now it's just dropping lucky crates like mad. Like, let's open up the chat. It's saying a vintage crate has appeared, a vintage crate has appeared, and the color didn't work for some reason, so I'm gonna have to go over that. But I accidentally just dropped lucky crates everywhere. So let's leave this and go back and see what we did. A vintage crate has appeared. My color didn't work for some reason. I think that's because for the color, instead of just the 3 numbers that you've got, you have to add out of 255 because it's a hex. No, that's not a hex value. Is that RGB? That's RGB. It's an RGB value. So you want to add out of 255 here. I'm really stupid. I forgot to change this to vintage crate. So pretty much you just want to change it to the name of whatever crate you've got. Go into your replicated storage, not replicated storage. I get that confused every time. You want to go into your server storage, scroll down till you find your crate, and I would actually come down to its name and directly copy and paste it, because you never know if you're going to make a mistake. And by the way, if you're wondering about this bit of code down here that already gave me a vintage crate, again, that's from the video that I had to scrap because my mic just broke. I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. This whole thing, this doesn't work anymore. It's frustrating. A vintage crate has appeared. A vintage crate has appeared. Where are the crates? I forgot to unanchor these. Okay. Again, this series is educational and is about learning. We're learning along the way, but it's definitely not for kids, Kappa. Not for if you're a kid, you shouldn't be watching this, Kappa. All right, now you can see that a stupid wait, I just put some things together, and when you run into it, you get a vintage box. Oh, you also get a shop item occasionally, which I'll show how to get rid of. So we got our stupid crates falling from the sky. You get your vintage box. If you go over here to your vintage boxes, you can click to open it up. And, oh, I was using a Twitch coin, so that's why that extra stuff appeared. Let me turn off my Twitch coins and just have my lucky clovers. You can see in our vintage boxes, we're only getting vintages. So let's fix up the chance that we get a shop item like we just did. And then we got to do codes. We'll cover codes for just a hot second, and then that'll be that. So to get rid of shop items showing up in your crate, you want to go to your crate, open up the research crate script, and then down here, yeah, so for me it's line 52 because I added all this ridiculous spacing. You just want to delete this little chunk of code. That will get rid of all item shop items coming into your crate. So the vintage crates are complete. I will come back to those once we're done with the codes. So to make your own code or Twitter code, you're going to go into server script storage, open up the main script, and then go down here to Twitter code. So scroll down, and then you'll see just a bunch of commented out codes. I believe that they start on line 316. So you'll see I have crystal meth, clover meth, twitch meth, and vintage down here. Those are all the codes I made on that, the episode I've lost. I've mentioned it before. I don't think I have. So codes are the easiest thing in the game to make. Pretty much, the first thing that you type in will be in quotation marks, and that'll be the name of the code. So for this one, crystal meth, when you type crystal meth into the game, it will give you crystals, and it'll give you 36,896. Number I completely ripped off the top of my head, has no significance whatsoever. For clovers, I had clover meth, and then it's clover meth, comma, clover, to tell you that it's going to give you clovers, comma, the amount of clovers. Same with Twitch coins. So those things, it's really easy. Then there's also the award in Twitter codes, which I'm sure you've been seeing. So there's the name of the code, award, and then 401. So remember what we visited earlier with the developers console? And the gargantuan mine was ID like 536 or something. So pretty much name of the code, award, which means it's going to give you an item, the item ID, just like what we did for gargantuan, and then the amount. So really straightforward. Oh my gosh, I think my head was blocking these the whole time. Well, that's great to know. Anyway, you see down here I have vintage. It awards a box, and then you just type in the box name, so vintage, festive, whatever, and then the amount. So I'm just going to do a custom code here for festive boxes. I'm going to name this festive meth. It'll give you a box, festive box for that matter, and let's just have it give me 10,000 because, or maybe 100,000, whatever. That's something we can do when we're modding Miners Haven, so might as well. Oh yeah, did I mention that I also made the vintage grates frickin' gigantic? Anyway, so let's just test out that you can no longer get shop items, which I guess is like a luck thing. But you can see that we're definitely not getting shop items. I gotta change the rarity on this. So let's enter in our code. It was festive meth and claim. That should give us 10,000 festive boxes. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate the amount of support and interaction on this series. I'm sorry this one took so long to get out. Again, I was sick. I've had multiple coughing breaks mid-video. I just have to cough.